An unhappy truth has become very evident to me in the last few years, and that is that the United States effectively works as a prison farm. However, I had a new epiphany about that because this weekend I spent a number of days working on my Omega car to refinish it and repaint it, getting it ready for some new testing. Well, when you work on that for days and days, you think a lot and you find clarity. And the fact of the matter is, we don't just live on a prison farm, we're in a corporate prison farm. So I didn't mean any of that as hyperbole. It's just the simple truth of the matter. And with regard to thinking about that, I need to be building this watch. So forgive me while I actually get started here. Corporate prison farm. Well, I hate to even lead with that because I think a lot of people will immediately go into the United States is technically a corporation. Of course it's a prison farm. All right, well, let's just back up and let me explain to you how I even came to that conclusion. I know it's probably going to look creepy because I have these funny little finger condoms, but when you work on a teeny tiny Swiss mechanical watch, even the tiniest little speck of dust can stop something. So yeah, it looks funny, but it makes the watches work really well. As a note, all 10 Founders watches were sold, and I'm finishing them up. They're custom watches built from the nicest parts, and it's a lot of fun. But anyway, the last decade plus, I've spent doing the Genius Garage educational programs, picking up the slack where the American educational system leaves off. Boy, does it leave off. We're going to talk about that. Getting a lot of young people amazing jobs. Recently just helped one student get a job at Lockheed Martin, so really proud of him. I also did the Omega car, which I mentioned, you guys have seen, and recently was on Tucker Carlson and Andy Frischella's podcast speaking about just that. I have some other ones coming up soon. But where I'm going with this is, if you set out to make the world a better place by building something like a car that upends the world narratives politically, as well as showing up automotive industries and automobile manufacturers for not doing what they should be doing, as well as doing something that fixes and pinpoints the exact issues of the American educational system, you are going to learn every way in which our society is broken. You are going to learn every reason why it doesn't want to change. You'll be stymied from it changing, as well as understand everybody's perception thereof, everything relating to all of it. Which is a horrible, horrible experience, and I don't wish on any of you. And it's amazing. I don't have ulcers or something, but I'm wired differently. Anyway, in doing that, I've also been able to see and draw a lot of other parallels. So let's talk about that. Okay, American educational system. Here's where it breaks down in colleges. You got student loans that cannot be defaulted upon. And if you can't default upon a loan, and it's given to 17-year-old kids for degrees that have no jobs, you just destroyed the future of our nation. You've destroyed these young people's lives and their families' lives for the future completely. So the colleges will have more money. You know, so many colleges and universities have such large endowments that if they were just invested reasonably in a reasonable return, they could literally afford to fund all of their students full tuition. They're sitting on that much money liquid. You realize that's wrong, right? So that's a major problem. Also, there are risk-averse places where you don't do anything in the real world. I gotta file this teeny tiny stem after I already changed its length. Pardon me one second. Okay, so the American educational system's jacked. The teachers suck because they're risk-averse. They don't have to put any effort in. They want tenure. Get your stupid degree, here's your paper. And then, like engineering is an example, these young people get out, and the only thing that makes them worth a darn is if they've actually done anything in the real world. So for instance, my student that just got hired by Lockheed Martin, of which he had to do, go through all the getting government clearance and such. So it's a pretty serious job. The entirety of his interview, they spoke about all the work he did with me at Genius Garage, because that's what is most relevant. It's like, great, you went to engineering. Great. I don't even know if they look at a grade point average. but he looks at what he does there. But school doesn't do that. And what's worse yet, there are many majors like fine arts and liberal arts, which is mostly just garbage art that's influenced by communism, with no jobs. So we're destroying everybody there. The automotive industry, from planned obsolescence to cars becoming wildly more expensive, is just going down a road because they don't know how to give people what they want and make a profit anymore. Just more regulations, more lies, more emissions, more government BS to create electric cars that nobody wanted, needs, and don't work. Especially considering I was able to build something, the Omega car, over a decade ago with virtually no budget and build a diesel car with a lower carbon footprint than an EV. Yeah, I am one guy. Can you imagine if I had any investment or I was actually leading a car company, what I could actually do? Think about it. So those industries are jacked. The automotive industry, transportation, the way we look at energy, all jacked. And look at the politicians that lead this. They can't even change their own oil. They're functioning idiots. The sociopaths, con artists even get there. And then they're just beholden to whatever jackwagon gives them money, whether it's a PAC or it's a billionaire. So we're kind of screwed. Idiots being influenced by sociopaths and rich people to screw over a nation. Gee, if that doesn't sound like criminals running a prison farm, I don't know what does. But let's keep going. Let's consider Big Pharma or the medical industry. Well, I can tell you what my feeling is on the medical industry. Stay the hell away from it. The hell away from it. And you have to be very steadfast to listen to any kind of doctor's advice to know if they're full of crap, and they're influenced too by their stinking drug reps, which are basically like just as bad as lobbyists in DC. Here's the other thing, and I know this from a source, and people have written me. Do you know how many first of all, drug companies don't develop anything. It's smaller companies and people and places and scientists that develop, and they just buy the rights to it. So any drug which is curative gets bought and shelved, never to see the light of effing day again. But what they will put out are the drugs, with little safety testing, I might add, that just treat symptoms. So you will be a customer forever. You will never get better, and they will only treat your symptoms. Does that not sound like a criminal enterprise to you? It does to me, at the very least, completely immoral. Here's the other thing with regard to that. You want to fix the medical industry and the pharmaceutical industry? You have to think about this a little bit more, but let's think about big pharma companies. Let's pass a law that will make the C-suite people, or at least CEO of any pharmaceutical company, liable for manslaughter anytime a patient dies of an illness of which they have a bookshelf drug that is curative of it, or at least better than the symptom-treating BS treatment or medicine that they provide. You know, all the stuff in secret that they don't show? Yeah, let's make them liable for manslaughter. Then you don't have somebody like Luigi Mangione acting on his own behalf. We can just hang them. By the way, that is not a call to violence. That is, in fact, speaking about capital punishment. Where even in a military tribunal nowadays, I think hanging is still an acceptable method of capital punishment. Give them a fair trial and hang them in the morning. Why not? They know what they have. They're withholding things to save people. They're supposed to be there to save people. No. They want to sap you dry for your money before you eventually die. Which is the exact same thing for old folks home and the geriatrics. Same thing. Sap them and the family for everything they have. Every last red cent, no matter what. Let's put Nana and Grandpa in a home where you can't see them, drug them out of their mind, and then have cheap people to look after them and basically mistreat them. That's the medical industry in America. I hate it. So don't take anything more than you need to. Take care of yourself and pray to God you don't have anything big wrong with you. And if you do, get in and get the hell out. Okay. Let me keep moving. Okay, so we talked about medical industry and pharma. We talked about educational system. We talked about the automotive industry a little bit. Don't you think agriculture is exactly the same way? Dear God, Monsanto and such that own all the rights, as you all probably know this, farmers well know this, You buy seeds, but you don't own that. You can't just plant the seeds you harvest in the future from its yield. You have to keep buying it because they own effectively the patents on the genetic structure of that plant. Now here's where it gets crazy. Let's say you've got somebody that uses their own seeds for corn in their own field, and they can legally, harvest like we did back in the olden days, right? All right, well, check this out. So if the field next to it has like a Monsanto seed in it, and, you have to pollinate corn to, hold on one sec, I gotta concentrate for a second. I should use different magnification. So if the seed, or if the corn from one of the owned places, the patented stuff, pollinates the crop that the old-timey farmer planted from their own seeds, well, that big old ag company can prove that they're now influenced by it because the genetic structure in the new seeds will relate to the ones that pollinated it. So guess who's aft into oblivion? Oh, the farmer that was doing his own thing. Yeah. Our industries are screwed, guys. The agriculture one goes on and on and on with government subsidies and every kind of BS imaginable just to sap every living anything out of the farmer and make it so that eventually they'll never be able to succeed and the government will have to come in and take everything over. Make sure that all the people are completely dependent on the system forever. Doesn't that sound like a prison farm to you? A corporate prison farm? It does to me. Let's just keep going. What other industries shall we talk about? My brain is full. I need to have some more coffee. It's late. I got to concentrate on these watches. Give me 1 second here. I don't want to screw this up. This is actually a very nice watch I'm working on. Okay. So this has a screw down crown, which I really like because it makes it stronger and they seal well from water and such. But they can be a little bit of a pain in the butt with regard to, I need to take a little bit more off that stem. You got to get these things just right. So politics. Ooh, let's talk about politics. Well, basically, the United States has two parties, but it's just the different cheeks of the same asshole, which I didn't used to say because it does matter if you vote one way or the other. So many people voted for Republicans this time around because basically we didn't want a bunch of communists, which is very fair. Let's just be honest. The whole Democrat Party is just going the way of communism and just complete social breakdown and ruling everybody and taking all rights away. Doesn't that sound like a prison farm? Yeah, it does to me. Horrible. Anyway, basically just don't trans our kids, ruin the school system, ruin sport, everything absurd. Just all this social idiocy everywhere. Just completely unfair across the board to destroy all the fabric of America. Okay, let's move on. The whole Democrat Party's in shambles and they deserve to be, and it's not worth talking about. So, which is funny actually, because recently something called Dark Brand, which is this dumb little AI channel, made a video about me, which all I can say is thanks for the free publicity, with what happens when a MAGA guy wakes up, which, in a sense is fair. A lot of people, MAGA, and a lot of those people now, including myself, loathe Donald Trump. And ask the question, is he just a criminal or a big fucking orange pussy? Or both? That's what I think. We'll go into that another time. And I don't mean that hyperbolic. I mean, that's the way I feel. We've totally been sold up the river and lied to. Nothing good is happening at all. Incredibly, we are way beyond disappointed. But that's neither here nor there. Politics. So, I've said in the past, there's only three types of politicians. There's puppets, there's career politicians where eventually it's their turn, and there's rich guys. Now, the puppets are no good because they're just controlled by whatever rich idiots that are there, and they sound like morons, which is basically exactly what AOC is. She's a puppet, she's an idiot, and her money came from somewhere else. Duh. Then you get a career politician that's been in so long that maybe it's their turn, they did just well enough. I don't know, let's pick somebody from the right. Jim Jordan, whom I used to like, and my grandfather was really proud of, because My granddad was his first campaign manager. And the whole family was proud of. But you know what? Watching him and his tweets of recent, where basically he's just gaslighting us with little ta-ta-ta BS to pretend the big beautiful bill is a good thing. Yeah, swamp rat, done with him, not proud, don't care, come after me. So there's that. And then you get a rich guy and you hope they're worth a darn. Rich guys like Vivek, Ramaswamy, or Trump, which I'm inclined to believe are both complete scum. And I say inclined to believe relating to the Donald right now. I know for a fact Vivek Ramaswamy is a globalist, manufactured Trojan horse pile of absolute filth. That's my opinion. And I live in Ohio, and I, among basically everybody else, don't want him here either. And just looking at the entirety of the Republican Party that supports it, says to me, there is no Republican Party. You're all just a bunch of gutless sellout twerps, which is probably bad for me to say that because now they might want to come after me. And I would just say, I'm bored. Come and get me, you assholes. And then you get old Elon Musk saying, I'm going to create a third party, which in face value is a really good thing. But have we all neglected to ask the simple question or no, okay, well, what does your new party actually stand for? And why should we believe you're going to do anything better? But at this point, it's so bad in America with the Democrats. Let's just call them what they are. Idiot communists. That's it. They're idiot communists. That's their party. Move on. Which the Republicans are so damn bad, I've actually given serious thought to, like, is there any value to being a Democrat? And I've thought about this 100 ways to Sunday, and the answer is no, because I'm not an idiot communist. But the Republican Party is complete garbage. However, I'm not going to just jump on the Elon bandwagon. I don't know what the hell he's about or what he's doing. And I hate to say it, but now it comes down to, gosh, well, he's a kooky rich guy, but at least he's a kooky rich guy that builds stuff. He doesn't really build stuff. He builds a company and does it. But he's so obsessed with making stuff that I feel like it's a better shot than like Donald, who has never built a goddamn thing in his life. You think he could change oil? Give me a break. He can't do anything. He has no connection to the common man and clearly doesn't give a rat's ass based upon the way he sold everybody out and all of it. He's just, and let's be honest, let's call a spade a spade. He is a terrible speaker. A terrible speaker. Never actually makes a point. Only ever says about half of the point because you're going to believe that he's saying what you're thinking, even though he never says anything. Kamala Harris was a laughing hyena idiot puppet. She was a bad puppet. It's neither here nor there. I did a much better job of setting this stem the right length, so that's nice. 1 second. Ah, yes. So I was a little ranty, but politics has screwed you guys because it's all bought and paid for. And then nowadays, oh my God, dear God, is it dirty? I mean, it's always been dirty, but now just the nature of lawfare and destroying everybody is there. Like, hey, don't you dare criticize them or be too big because they'll just gang up on you. Set you up in any way to discredit you, make you look bad, deplatform you, plant stuff on it to make you illegal, effectively framing you with God knows what and everything else. So we are, in fact, being ruled and led by criminals. They're all criminals. Many of them treasonous. And if you are, in fact, treasonous, you should be hung. That's what people do in a country. That's what our founding fathers would do. And frankly, that's what needs to be happening now. And I say that because we all realize that there is zero accountability for our politicians. No one is ever arrested. Nothing bad ever happens unless it's just somebody they want to get rid of. But it's never anything big. So they get to do anything they damn well please, while all of us make the money, pay the taxes, and are the idiot prisoners on our corporate slave farm so they can send their stupid money anywhere, our stupid money anywhere they want. Destroy the value of our currency, destroy the value of our property. Make it so that our kids will never own property because guess what? We're going to own nothing and like it. How about go fuck yourself? And I will remind you something else, whether you like it or not. And then this is a reminder of fact and in no way a call to violence or arms. There are more firearms in this country than people. And we all know that. You do too. And the fact of the matter is, there's a whole lot of great stuff out there because we're the idiot prisoners on the corporate slave farm that make firearms irrelevant. Yeah. Because you take away the communication, how many would anybody ever organize if they needed to do something together? So that's not going to be a problem, right? Besides, what do you need firearms for when you got people like Bill Gates? Just creating deadly viruses and making it so vaccines can be sprayed airborne or implemented into the genetic coding of our meats, etc. Medicate the prisoners. Call the herd if need be. Right, Bill? You piece of shit. So guys, I think you're seeing this, right? What other industries am I forgetting about that exist? I only ever think about cars and stuff. I mean, government agencies, the government is garbage. It's absolute trash, I think it was RFK Jr. said that the government's pretty robust and has weathered a lot of things. It's not weathering this. Well, the truth of the matter is we don't even have a government anymore. We don't have a country in the United States. We have an elite ruling class of criminals, period. That's the global, or at least the national political class. They're all criminals. They can make new criminals in people. Like Vivek Ramaswamy bought a failed pharmaceutical drug that they know didn't work, published a lot of papers to make it look like it could be curative toward or helpful towards Alzheimer's. Guess what? It doesn't work, but not before he cashes out with well over $100 million after building a company to go private or go public. Which, by the way, isn't that a simple, easy, genius way for elite people to just create a new centimillionaire like that? And he didn't have to actually create anything. He didn't have to do anything clever. He didn't have to make the world better. He didn't build any businesses that actually matter or make a community or state better. He didn't build any nonprofits. He didn't volunteer any time to charity. Nothing. But guess what? His big dumb name's going to be on the boards to be the new Ohio governor. Oh my God. By the way, somebody send this to Elon Musk with his new party. Like, it is so bad. I will run for Congress, governor, senator, president, I don't care, with Elon's new party. Because if that party is so effed like the other ones that I wouldn't, then honestly, I'm just going to pray for Armageddon, religious Armageddon, World War, Civil War, but only if we get to just take out all the politicians, if that happens. I'm not going to incite it. I'm not leading it. But I'm literally praying for that because our country is gone. The West is gone. Everybody in power are criminals. I hate them. And they're making life worse because I'm the guy that spent over the last decade volunteering all my time to engineering students to better their lives, to get them amazing jobs, working everywhere from Tesla to Palo Alto to like Chrysler, Ford, Marathon, Lockheed Martin, et cetera, and built a car that gets over 100 miles a gallon and did everything none of the automotive industries are doing. I realize I'm one guy, and maybe that doesn't matter, but I think it does. Because that's what we're supposed to be doing is good, solid Americans, of which none of our asshole politicians ever did a damn thing, especially some jackwagon like Vivek Ramaswamy. I deeply, sincerely, and truly hate all of these fucks, all of these useless, criminal fucks. There's a few that are okay. I appreciate them speaking up. But what do we have? I mean that honestly. Let's talk about what we have as us being prisoners on the corporate slave farm. Can you create a drug to cure cancer or a treatment? Yes, you can. Will that ever be utilized for the public? No, it fucking won't. You will be destroyed, killed, your patent taken. By the way, the patent system's screwed. Nobody patents anything that has half a brain anymore because any institution or industry will be able to just steal it from you. And lawfare exists. Our legal system is screwed, completely screwed. We basically don't have one anymore. What are you going to create? I built this car. There's no funding. There's nobody that's going to invest in it because it's too big. Anybody that approaches me, they all nicey, let's do this, let's get investment. These fucking retards, because I'm polite, think I'm a moron because they want to figure out what is the special IP I use because they're too dumb to know the car was just built with sound engineering practices and representative of a myriad of techniques that I can mass produce something. And they're like, I don't know what to do with this. I think we got enough information. Well, you don't. Fuck faces. Because the other thing is, all the really secret sauce I got is not in the car. And I'm sandbagging. Get fucked. Every last one of you. The ones that have talked to me that you vanished, that you think you're smart getting information from me, you have dick. Which means nothing. You probably don't have a dick. I mean that literally. Okay, so this watch is excellent. I am going to stop ranting for a second and make sure that no dust has come in. Good. Built the car. There's no funding. There's no help. There's nowhere to go. There's no government help for inventors or entrepreneurs. There's absolutely nothing for the geniuses of America to build anything new. I don't know what it is. Oh, art? Well, that's a thing long gone by since we haven't had good art since like the early 20th century or late 1800s. Oh no, we have all this garbage influenced by communism. Let's just destroy all good culture in the West and make morons think it's good. What was it, the CIA that helped Jackson Pollock rose to prominence? Not to mention that all these art auctions and everything is literally just money laundering. What do we have in America? Credit cards, chain stores with no soul, so we can go to a 9-to-5 job for the man and all of our tax money goes somewhere else. So our kids can't buy a home or own any property to buy some stupid new car because we got rid of shop class in all schools because nobody can fix anything. So you got to have a warranty and go to the dealer. By the way, the dealerships aren't going to uphold their warranties because they can make more money there, you sap. Take all of your money and brain power out. Oh, by the way, you took a big non-defaultable student loan out for your terrible education, so you're paying that off forever. I've got a doctor friend that wish he didn't go into doctor school because he's still paying student loans off, and we're middle-aged. It's insane. He even owns his own damn practice. So what are you going to do? What are we going to do? You going to create anything? You're going to make some neat art? You're going to do that? You're going to have an invention? You're going to make the world a better place? You're going to run for a public office? And you think you're going to be able to do the right thing with these giant roaming bands of criminals everywhere? Is it revolution time? I think that time already came a long time ago. We just didn't know it because we've all been asleep. Well, I'm not asleep anymore, and I'm pissed off because I'm 43 years old, and I've got a lot I can contribute to the world. I've been doing that. And I found that the United States has no future, no promotion for anything good, no ability to invent anything without it being stolen or ripped away. Our medical industry is garbage, set up only to take our money away before we die and our families. Art is gone. Music industry sucks. Hollywood is taken over and it's all just deconstructive garbage to destroy the social fabric of our nation, period. Not to mention, the movies are fucking boring anyway. So nothing. So what are we going to do? Build watches for the rest of our life? Kind of fun. But this is not remotely what I could be doing. So, I don't know. I'll pick a fight. Let's fight. Hey, Elon, you want me to do it? I'll run. I'll run for office. But you better goddamn support me all the way through because I don't feel like getting eaten alive by these damn criminals. Or, I don't know, we're going to have a giant revolution? Okay, if it starts going down, it won't be hard to figure out which side to be on. Or maybe there's another country or kingdom out there where they're actually doing something for the future, but that's a gamble. I just don't like not being able to make the world a better place. And living in a corporate prison farm ruled and led by criminal elites. Pretty pissed off about that. Pretty pissed off. Glad to be alive, glad to be healthy. By the way, I'm not suicidal. I have excellent firearm safety. I do lots of safety with all my motor vehicles. Yeah, so if anything bad happens to me, or suddenly I get planted with some stuff and I'm a criminal, just realize, yeah, that wasn't me. You know, what are we going to do? What are we going to do? You know, I was thinking with my car, so the Omega car, I was sanding out for hours and hours and hours, making it pretty and painting it silver. I'm going to test it some more. I think I can get 128 miles to the gallon. It'll be like an ounce per mile, which is cool. And I know it'll be faster 0 to 60 because the tires on it were over a decade old and they wouldn't hook up. So I'd probably do 0 to 60, I'm guessing easily 4.2 or 4.3, which will make it faster than the C7 Grand Sport Corvette and the Tesla Model 3 rear-wheel drive, to be fair. Let's not put all-wheel drive against two-wheel drive. So two-wheel drive on two-wheel drive. So it'll be faster. It'll have an even lower carbon footprint and demolish the EVs there with infrastructure and a car that's more affordable. But we can't produce that now, can we? Not in America. Not in a place led by criminals. You see, here's the other thing. All of these fucks. I'm going to go so far as to say every politician. Basically, every stinking politician in the world. They can't do or build anything. Absolute idiots. Otherwise, they wouldn't be there. They like talking. And that's annoying because they don't know what's possible. They don't care what's possible. The other thing that pisses me off, the billionaire class, god damn, they are too comfortable. And I think it's this happens to car guys. You know, like we're on Facebook Marketplace all the time, and maybe we can't work on our stuff, so we chase the dopamine hits of like trying to find the new car, motorcycle, or project that we can buy, because that's an easy way to get a dopamine hit. I think that's what happens to all the billionaires, because they don't want to work anymore. They don't want to do the real, tangible, rewarding, creative stuff that makes things better, that you can sleep well at night and think you did something because you actually created something of value. They don't do that. They just want to keep increasing their wealth so they can live their dumb lifestyle and go around and bang around and do whatever the fuck they want. Which is annoying because they don't even have the balls to invest in something or someone that actually is doing something tangibly good. Anything in school doing anything else. Let me go on another tangent. I have an idea. This is a great idea. Because there's got to be like 1 or 2 decent billionaires out there. I know one. He's really cool. I don't bug him though. I don't bug him. I just treat him like any human being. So I would love to start a foundation. Now, a foundation is just a big dumb bucket of money. So it all depends on who's leading it and for what purpose. And I was jokingly thinking, I want to call it the Phoenix Foundation, you know, that MacGyver worked for. It's funny, right? But it's kind of true. And I was thinking, you know, if I just had a rather small foundation and I was able to bring on just a few people and build a small school, we could fix art. We could build all of the inventions of tomorrow, the better transportation, the better cars, the better trains, the better everything, and make them public so the world wouldn't be able to ignore it. Set that up the right way. We could even experiment in the medical industry and or do sleuthing to find out what really exists. Build, maybe you do that quiet. Maybe you set up, we'll call it a library, or a central place with the brightest people in the world. Cultivate them, the young ones. Fix all the things that are broken. Maybe you can even do that in a corporate prison farm of America. Or maybe you do it somewhere else. That's what I think I'd like to do. You know, and then maybe you find the direction to build new companies and such. Also, I'd like to point this out. The general public is both profoundly smarter and disappointingly stupider than you can possibly imagine. Now, don't get insulted by that, because I think you all know that's true, but they are profoundly smarter, which is why everybody is so pissed off at the old Donald right now, who's a big, fat, bad liar. And we know it, and we all see all of the things going on. And we and me think he's a big fucking pussy. Because you'll talk shit to world leaders. Hey, who's that South African prime minister or president you had in the White House and showed him all the videos of the little genocide he's creating? Like to see you do that to Netanyahu, you big pussy. Anyway, forgot where I was going with that. I started thinking about my watch. But that's what I think. The United States now is not a country. It's a corporate prison farm led by criminals. Whew. Does it get any worse than that? Anyway, I'm working on these watches. I'm using only Swiss mechanical parts, the best I can possibly get, and putting together very nicely. And the best bands around the world. I'm finishing now 10 founders watches where I build one-off bespoke watches for people, and that's super cool. And here next, I will be making a small number of pre-production watches, I think at most 30, before I get into the production models. The pre-production ones, I don't know, the price range is probably going to be like $4,000 to $8,000, which is a fair bit less than the founders watches. And on par with the production ones, but they'll be pre-production ones. So if anybody's interested, they're all Swiss, primarily automatic. Some are manual wind, but I don't think I'm gonna have any manual winds in the production ones. You can find me and email me if you're interested. But that's what I'm doing. And it just disappoints me. Oh, the other thing is, remember Indiana Jones, where the Ark of the Covenant goes in the giant government building where everything's stored? Yeah, that's not exaggeration. All the most brilliant things of history and archaeology and everything are stored away, never to be seen, by the effing government Smithsonian. The amount of knowledge of world history of civilization that's stored away, never to let anybody be seen, and things that are purposely being hidden. There were far more advanced civilizations all around the world, and even in America, that we're not supposed to think about. There's a lot of other things about history that are a bullshit story and not really what happened. And I hate that too, but I don't have time to worry about that right now. Actually, I do. I'm gonna go on an archaeological adventure very soon, in a place where people wouldn't expect it, where there's a lot of neat stuff. Okay, let's put it on the time grapher. Let's see if I'm smart or an idiot. Okay, work. Not bad. Not bad. Okay, I was running at plus 1 second a day. That's good enough to start with. Not bad. Bring that back down. Okay, so we're only plus 1 second a day. Okay, not bad for a watch I just stuck together. Okay, clickety clickety. Okay, that's it. Oh, and Jeffrey Epstein didn't kill himself. Nobody has a problem with Jewish people. We all have a problem with the nation of Israel, who seems to be a manipulative, genocidal, nasty little nation that Americans are embarrassed to support. So if you want to call us anti-Semites for realizing what's right in front of our eyes, y'all need to get a better argument, because Americans are tired of being called names. We just don't give a shit. See you guys next time.